Can you hear me? Can you? Please let me know if you can hear me or not. And if you cannot, then I shall maybe start over. I don't know, so. Hear me? Can you? Okay, now it's in. Amanda, I think it's in. I can hear it on my side, so I think we're good to go. Yeah, it's been a funny one. Now I can. Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda. Everybody, how are you all doing? Where are you tuning in from? Who am I saying hi to this today? Adele is here. With a few more saying I can hear now. Excellent stuff. Really, really good. So don't forget to let me know if you're commenting on YouTube or if you're commenting on the 7 Levels of Awareness group where I'm streaming into. So I'm streaming this into the 7 Levels of Awareness Facebook group, into YouTube, and also into the Academy. It doesn't always tell me who you are. It says Facebook user. So please just type in your name and say it's Claire or it's Sinead or it's what is it? Your one says Bill or Billy or Mac or Buddy. Isn't that what she says in the song? All I want to do is have some fun. Sheryl Crow. Bill or Mac or Buddy. So whoever you are, let us know. Hello, Anita. Anita says she can't hear, but I'm sure it'll be okay now in a moment. I might leave that on just a little so I can hear. Alona Rock is there. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I hope you got a pen and paper handy, and I would love for you to write down and take a moment to write down the names of 3 people that matter most. I really wanted to try and think today, like, how can I help people who struggle with this maybe? And I thought of something I did some time ago, which was I broke it up into when I was from 0 to 10, from 10 to 20, and from 20 to 30, just to have a bit of a variety, because you could say my mom, my dad, my granny, or my granddad. But I could actually, we could probably put 100 people in that looked after us and took care of us so much between 0 and 10, like loads of people, the Cub Scout leaders, the teachers, I don't think there was SNAs back then. Our local shopkeepers, football trainers, the bus driver, everybody who took care of us. And hey, Richard, good to see you, man. My cousin Richard's here. How are you doing, buddy? Those type of things, people that really made a difference in our lives. Day 12, the magical people who made a difference. Write them down now. Take a moment and write them down. And then perhaps, look, I know I'm doing this at 1 o'clock and maybe lots of you have already got your magic book done today, or maybe you're doing it tomorrow. Some people might have started a couple of days late. Anyway, let's go through it together as a team. So Albert Schweitzer, the Nobel Peace Prize winning medical missionary and philosopher, said, "At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each one of us has cause to think with deep gratitude for those who have lighted the flame within us. Every one of us has received help, support, or guidance from other people at particular times in our life when we needed it most. Sometimes another person alters the course of our life through their encouragement, their guidance, or just being there at the right time." There's people, when I started out working with Bob Proctor, there was one girl, and she, you have these kind of, you make these presumptions, you make these judgments and different, everyone does, like you're walking down the street and we're normally very, very, very judgmental, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually wired into our system, because is there a threat? Is this someone I can have a marriage with? Is this someone I can procreate with? Is this somebody that's going to cause me danger? Is this somebody that's going to get me help, support, shelter, food? We're always scanning and judging in a good way. And I remember going in, there was one girl and she'd been really prominent in the chat. And I remember going up saying, "I'm a bit scared. I've invested all this money and I don't know what I'm doing. And can you help me?" She was a really big help. And it totally turned in after a few months, where I probably realized that I think she was a really good talker and a really, really good person at putting herself out there, but there wasn't a lot of real meat and bones to the back of it. But I learned an awful lot from her for what she was giving, and at the time I learned so much from her. But for the rest of our relationship, it's been the opposite way around, where I think I am that person for her. Everyone's received help, support, and guidance from other people at particular times in our life when we need it most. And whenever she contacts me, she starts off by saying, "I'm sorry not to be bothering you again, and thank you so much for all your help." But I really have said recently, stop saying sorry, because it's like tennis, I hit the ball to you. Well, in fact, you hit the ball to me initially. You helped me out so much. You really, really made a big impact on me. You made a big impact on me before I met you. You started me on this trajectory. And maybe now you see that I'm the person that helps you, and maybe I've been doing that for the last couple of years. It'll turn again. You know, you help me with your inspiration, you help me with your persistence, and you help me with your positivity, you know. So she felt, oh, Declan's here and I'm there, and this kind of stuff. And let's stop all that very quickly. You know, it was a really nice conversation to have, because that's an important thing that we do. As much as we're all, you know, maybe naturally judging, you know, is this a dangerous place? Is this a nice place? Is this a safe place? Is this going to be a warm place? Like when my mom goes into a room, she scans the room and says, where's the warm spot? You know, I don't want to draft. And she's always got scarves and she doesn't like the draft. It's like that, you know, we're kind of scanning and judging subconsciously. Is this a friendly person? Is this a person I'm going to be comfortable with? Are they going to make little of me in a conversation? They seem nice. They seem lovely. I think I want to hang out with people like them. Am I on their social status? Are they above me, below me? These are all little dialogues that are going on inside. But you can learn from anyone. You can be inspired by anyone. There's a young man in Killarney, County Kerry. His name is Jordan Lee. And Jordan has recently represented Ireland in the Paralympic Games. And I was very lucky to get onto, you know, 5 carriages on the train, leaving Killarney, heading for Dublin. And I was going up the time to add to my acupuncture practice by learning a form of acupuncture called auricular acupuncture. And it was there's a word, a new word for Friday. Anita Connolly, that's a word just for you. I'm going to tee it up and hit it over to you. You can have that brand new word. Petifical, I think I said, but it was a particular training and it was very specific. It was to do with this thing called the NADA protocol, which helps people with addictions and people who have, you know, their drug addictions, food, alcohol, smoking, gambling, whatever. But it really helps with so many other functions because you're using some of the main organs of the body in the ear. So you put 5 needles here, you put 5 needles there, they chill out and happy days. But as I was going up to do that training in Dublin, I got on the carriage and I looked down and I saw a young gentleman, and he just so happens to have one arm, you know, it would be one arm is shorter than the other arm. Let's just look at it that way. And I noticed, you know, gear bags that people have, especially with like international sport, they have these huge gear bags. And I kind of looked for a second and I was like, you know, that's probably going to be a bit tricky now to get that up onto the high railing. So I just walked down and just kind of said, sure, look, I'll give you a hand with that there. And he goes, yeah, cheers. And then, you know, just put it up and sat down together. And then I just sat down for a second. And then I was like, that's not actually my seat, but sure, I'll sit there and chat away for a while anyway. And the train was pretty empty. So I got chatting to him. He got chatting to me. And then I said to him, sure, do you know what? Look, I'm going out there to change at Mallow. Sure, I grabbed the bag. And he was like, yeah, go on, sure, if you don't mind. And then I grabbed the bag. And then we got on the next train. And then same thing. I was like, do you want to sit together for Dublin? He was like, yeah, go on, sure. And we sat together. And he's a very independent man and didn't need my help, but sure, I said I'd offer, and he was happy to accept the offer. But this young man had a massive impact on me in that train journey, 3 or 4 hours of a train journey. And it was just 3 sentences, the same sentence said 3 times. I remember one of them was when I was going past a thick bunch of trees. I can remember that time he said it because I was like, Jesus, he's done it again. And what he said was, I remember it was like a habit of mine. My sister has a habit of saying, I don't know. Well, I don't know. My wife says sorry all the time, like, sorry. And someone would crash their trolley into her ankle and she'd go, sorry. You know, whereas my one that I used to say was something like, yeah, it's hard, but it's hard, you know. It was like I don't know, I said it quite a lot back then. And I was talking to him about this and that and ideas, and I goes, but it's hard. And he was like, Declan, he said, oh no, somebody said, is it only people who are alive? No, I think it doesn't matter if they're here, if they're whatever way they're vibrating in the world, whether they're in the next life or they're here right now, you can write down any people you want to write down. So I said to him a few times, like, it goes, yeah, look, I'd like to, but it's hard, you know. And he said, well, Declan, and he was like 16 at the time or something. He was like, well, Declan, there's something I live by, and it's, if something is hard, we just have to try harder. And I was like, this kid's 20 years my junior, and that's badass. Like, he's dead right. I said, you know what, you're dead right. And I was trying to be all like, you're right, but you know, I'm older, so I actually know that already. But I was dead impressed. I was like, that's right. So then we went along later on and I mentioned something else. And I goes, well, look, it's hard to picture it now, but I'm sure it'll work out, but it's hard. And he was like, what did I say to you earlier on? And I said, oh, he goes, if things are hard, we need to try harder. And I was like, oh my goodness, this kid's after doing a number on me twice here. And then we were getting up to Dublin, and I was just getting off the train. I said something about it's hard, and he goes, and then I found myself going, sorry, we just have to try harder. And I've messaged him a few times over the years, just reminding him of this this interaction and this, you know, just saying it to him, like, you know, and he was at pains to tell me that day as well, I'm not going to Ireland. He was going to Wales to represent Ireland in the under-16 basketball. And he was just quick to point out to me that he wasn't going to the Paralympics team or to any type of team. He was playing with the mainstream, if that's what you want to call it, under-16s. And I was like, I genuinely said, look, I didn't presume otherwise, because I had seen something about him on the internet before. Vaguely was in my mind that he actually plays like inter-county and represents his club and represents this county as far as I know. So he's a really talented young man. And you would think about basketball being a sport that requires both of your arms, but he has learned to be really, really good at basketball with one arm. So this young man, and I heard opposition players even saying it, like you'd be thinking like, maybe I should take it easy. And then after about 10 minutes, you're like, this guy's not fucking playing around here. Like he's hurting me and he's going for it. Like, and he's badass. I'm going to have to up my game to play against him. So it's an extraordinary young man. You can get inspiration all around, and he would easily be a person I could list on this, because he was like an angel that day. You know, he really had an impact on me. He really, really did. I hear sometimes, I remember there's a good friend of mine, Caroline Daly, she's in our academy, a neighbor of ours here in Valencia, and her dad remembers saying this to me. But there was one time I was sitting on my couch in my mom and dad's kitchen, and he was asking about what I was doing, and I was telling him, and he said, you know what? He said, you're a man I always said is going to go places, or something like that. And I accepted it. I just accepted the idea. I said, thank you. And I didn't just go like, oh, stop. You know, I was like, can't take a compliment. Irish man, what are you saying? I can't take. I actually said, no, thank you. I was like, ooh, that's good. That kind of gives me shivers. And I've said it to him a few times, you know, that I've either said it to him directly or indirectly, but I've said it a few times, like, you know, that made an impression on me when you said that. So there are people out there that inspire us a lot. I really love to watch the like Better Ireland Awards or programs like that, because they'll just blow you away. I saw a little ad on Instagram about, there's a young gentleman, and he showed up last year. He is in a wheelchair, and he was in the Late Late Show, and he became quite a sensation because he was sending virtual hugs. Remember the little guy? Beautiful little boy, so happy and so gentle, and he made a massive impact on the country. It was quite the Late Late Show last year. It was the Late Late Toy Show last year was unbelievable. Actually, it was a great program. But he, this young man stole the show, and he was giving virtual hugs, and he was sending hugs here and sending hugs there. And I think he's a big fan of being an astronaut as well, isn't it? And but I saw he's got a book. His dad's got a book coming out about his son, and people like that would just inspire you, wouldn't they? You know, so you watch something like the Better Ireland Awards or that, and you just kind of think to yourself, oh my God. And the more you think about him, he's now making a difference in your life. So we'll have these people that make a difference. You know, I mean, the very obvious ones for me are my grandmother and grandfather here from Kerry. I got to meet my grandparents in Tipperary a few times, but not enough times to really, I think, make an impact. But they still do, because even though they've passed on, you'll hear certain things and you'll associate with it, because like you'll go, that's my granddad that did that, that's my grandmama that did that, and you kind of say, I'm that too, you know. So people can definitely make a difference well from beyond the grave, as somebody commented, is it only alive people? No, not just people who are still here, people who are gone as well. In the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, one of the chapters, I read it this morning in our 6 a.m. club, it's called The Sixth Sense. And the sixth sense is like your intuition, where you pick up on ideas, or you pick up on intuitions, hunches, like, you know that there's more to the idea. Like, I don't know where I got that idea from, but that's a good one. That's using our sixth sense. And there's something, there's a wonderful artist living up in Galway called Jane, that I have to get back to her to create this portrait for me. But it's going to be a painting that shows me sitting at a table with my virtual mastermind. Like, did you ever see the video of like, or the dogs playing pool, or the celebrities sitting up in the skyscraper? You know, like there was a picture of Irish men who were sitting up in these big steel gilders up in New York. You know, I think they were actually all from Galway originally. These this is a very famous picture that's become a very famous painting. That type of a thing. But the virtual mastermind will be up of people who I can think, if he was here, what would he say? So I could think of Bob Proctor or Steve Jobs, or I actually often think of my brother James, who's passed on. I go, okay, what would he tell me to do now if he was here? What would Bob say to me? Declan, when did you start becoming indecisive? Make the damn decision. You know, I can just hear him and I'm like, okay, Bob, you're right. You know, so it's a virtual mastermind. We've tried this out. There was a woman called Sandra. She was a client of mine living in Los Angeles, and she was live on a screen one evening, and I made her leave the screen and come back at the end of the hour. And I gave her names of like 5 people. And I said, this is a problem that you have. And I want you to think, what would these 5 people say? There was like, this guy, there was a Trevor, there was a Janine, there was Nico, there was me, there was about 5 or 6 of us. And we got to know each other, because you do get to know people when you study with them throughout, you know, a few months. And she went away and then came back at the end of the video and wrote, and she said, Declan would say, believe in yourself, dream big, you know, don't hesitate, make your decision, act fast. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. And everybody else was like, yeah, that sounds exactly like Declan. Then she said, okay, it's okay. What would Trevor said? No, we had already asked each other before she came back, what would you say to that? And they were like, she was not, out of 6 of us, she got 4 of us bang on, and the other 2 were there or thereabouts, ballpark. But the 2 that she didn't get right, the other 4 of us could see how she had formed that answer of them. So like, she was close to 100%. If it was the 6 of us, it was 100%. If it was her, it was 80%. And we can all do this. We can all tap into those people that matter, even though they might have gone to the next world. They're still have to have an influence on you, even though you've never gone up and shook the hand of Tom Brady or Cristiano Ronaldo or Paul McGrath or whoever, some amazing sports person that inspires you. You've never shook their hand or met them, but you know what they'd say. If you take a moment, you know what they'd say to you. You just tap into their voice and listen, and you know what they'd say. So people can make a difference, and you've only got about 7 billion to choose from now, let alone the billions that have passed away. I even go so far as to say is you could use fictional characters in this. Of course you can. I know a friend of mine, I stayed with him in Athenry last week, and in between his shoulder blades, he's got a really wonderful tattoo since he was a young man of Gandalf, and Gandalf is casting out his arms like that. And I don't actually think he was a fan of the movies. He had read the books when he was a teenager, and the Lord of the Rings had such an impact on him, and so did Gandalf, that he got him tattooed up in his back in between his shoulder blades. And like, he could tap into the person that you read about in the book, or he could tap into Ian McClellan's version of "You shall not pass," you know. So fictional characters, people who are alive today, people who've served you in your life in any way, shape, or form. And I'd go so far as to say, if you could even pick one of them today and contact them and tell them, it'll blow you away with the response. I was at a function, and there's Richard is here with me. We have a lot of great uncles and aunties, and there's an uncle of mine, Hugh, actually. And when I was a child, I went up and did work experience with him, and he just inspired me. I don't know what it was, but he just did. And my mother probably always said, "Oh, you look like him, and you're the same as him." And Jesus, the way you looked at me there, it was like being back in Tipperary, and Hugh was there looking at me, you know. So perhaps that was being, you know, programmed into me. You're like him, you're like him. And I went up, and I just really liked that he'd stepped out and had his own business. And I was watching this as a 14-year-old. I went for work experience. I was kind of watching. He's got a nice house. I'd like a nice house. He's got, you know, he's a good father. I want to be a good father, you know. So I said it to him one day a few years ago, and Jesus, it knocked him down. He was like, it made a big impression on him. So it's something that's worth doing, you know. We'll be a long time gone, and it costs nothing to just say to somebody, "Do you know what? I just wanted to tell you, you made a big impression on me." There was a teacher of mine, Mrs. O'Connell, and I met her sons when in the pub that June and I first met. It was the Crow's Nest in Cork City. It's now a tower block of apartments, soon to be completed. Well, I don't know, soon, but God, it's a monster of a thing on Victoria Cross now. But anyway, there was a pub there once upon a time, and I met my darling wife there. Some really good nights in that place. We made great friends. 18 of us ended up over in Byron Bay about 5 years later, because we were all backpacking at the same time. We all met and spent Christmas Day together, and I went down on bended knee that very day to propose to June. So that pub has great memories for me. But I was there anyway one day, and these two boys came in, and one of them was lecturing up there, and they're Connells from Portmagee, and their mom was a teacher when I went to school. And she is somebody that always comes into my mind when I think of my childhood. And I don't know if I got a chance to tell her what an impression she made on me, but I certainly told them, and maybe they told her. I said, your mum had made such an impression. I told them a couple of anecdotes. There was one, for example, whereby, it was 1980s Ireland, so maybe there wasn't a lot of money around Portmagee. I don't know. Maybe looking back, there wasn't. But I found this hoodie, just a hoodie like this, but it said Chicago Bears across the top. And we knew straight away it was these two boys that had been living in the area for a short period of time. They'd moved into our school for a few weeks and then they left. And it was one of their hoodies. So a branded hoodie was probably something that you didn't have around here at the time. So I handed it up instead of taking it home. And she must have been impressed by that or something. I don't know. It doesn't sound like a big deal now, but she was saying that. And then she says, right, we're going to raffle it off among the classroom. And for years, my lucky number was 16. And the reason my lucky number was 16 was we were all standing up, and she went around the room, and she goes, a number from 1 to 100 or whatever. And she went around the room. And the first time she came to me, I said 16. And she said, well, would you believe it? That's the number I've written down. And then I wondered, did anyone ever check it? Maybe she rigged it so I would end up fairly winning the thing back. And then she got everyone to sit back down and get me the hoodie. And she goes, no, I want you to stand up and stay standing. And I was like, She goes, stay standing for a minute. And she said, there's a reason that Declan's after winning this out of everybody here. And there's a reason he handed it up as well. She said, God picked his family to take care of one of his angels. And I was like, what? And it was my brother, James, God rest him. He had an intellectual disability from birth. And it was just the most normal thing in the world for me to have a brother with, intellectual disability. And me, we'd go down with my friends and they were all just running around by themselves. But sometimes I'd be there with my brother and, I wasn't able to obviously just run off. I'd be staying with him and holding his hand and stuff. And I never thought of it being any different. But she must have maybe seen that it was having an effect on me in some way or something. I don't know what it was. Or maybe she just did it to just give me a boost. I don't know what it was. But that made a massive impact on me. And it really, that sentence, like just to say that day had a massive impact on me, because I always felt then afterwards that I had like, if that's the truth, then what else is the big man upstairs giving me? If that's the truth, then what else good is happening? So it really made a big impact on me. And that's a woman that will go down on my list today. But it could be anyone. One time I was really nervous going to do my first ever back-to-back seminars. Limerick, Galway and Cork. So Limerick one day, up to Galway, did another one, stayed in a hotel, drove across to Dublin and did one with like 4 people in the room. It was a time where persistence, I was reading the chapter on persistence every day for 30 days, I can tell you, because when you hire a room and you go in, you're like, well, everybody, you're very welcome. And they're like, one of them is like coloring in all the O's and the D's. And he's like, I just want to get out of here. I can't believe she's after bringing me to this law of attraction fucking thing. Like, it was tough, But I remember going up to do that, and I went one day at the dinner table, and Layla was like, Dad, she was about 8 at the time. Oh, Dad, that was a big sigh. And I go, yeah, Layla, I'm nervous. And she goes, what are you nervous of? I said, I've never done 3 seminars back to back, and the numbers aren't really big in the Dublin one, and I hope it's going to. And she was like, Daddy, you know what? You just have to be yourself, and that's going to be good enough. I was like, so my own daughter could be somebody that goes down on that list. The list of people who make the difference is your list. It's very, very, very special to you. But I'm telling you, I love the feedback we're getting from members of the Academy and members of the 7 levels of awareness. You're going on these small meetings with your success advisors as well in these Zoom breakout rooms, I think. And we're hearing back that you guys are it's blowing you away. This was 28 days of gratitude. I'm delighted it is, and I don't want it to stop for you here. I want you to continue to do gratitude. And, people have asked me over the years, can you tell me more about gratitude? How do you do it every day? And I was like, well, I live it. I don't maybe do my list. I do my list of 10 every day, but other than that, then it's like, I'm grateful. And the rest of the day is just thinking about being grateful for things, even if it's a difficult thing, you're still finding good in it. So anyway, there's all my own personal examples of where I remember the very first day, a wonderful guy called Dave, he's in the Academy. He's like, do we do the same list every day or will we pick new things? I'm sure you're all developing, and please let me know in the chat, are you finding it easier to come up with new, fresh things every day? That if you are, it's a great sign, because you've probably just kind of like cracked open this lens over your eyes that was only making you see a limited amount. We had a wonderful lady, Adele, yesterday talk about the leaves, and it's cool because I've driven a lot of the country in the last few days. A week ago today, actually, we headed up to Galway, and we had been in Clare, and we'd seen the beautiful falls in Ennistimon. We'd seen the roads up around Limerick and the motorways, and we hadn't been north of Limerick in 2 years because of lockdown. So it was great to go up and see the big broadleaf trees, and things had changed, all around Athenry now. They had saplings on the new motorway. Now they're big trees. So yeah, we'd seen the color changes over the last few weeks with autumn. Like, would we have not seen that 12 days ago? Is the gratitude really getting inside and getting us to look out through a different set of eyes again? I hope it is. But look, there's my own personal stories aside. Now the rest of it's about you. The rest of it's about the magical day 12 and what Rhonda Byrne wants us to do today. And then we'll wrap it up probably in about the next 15 minutes or so. So let me hear how it's going. Yeah, new things every day. Very, very good to hear. Let me know. Maybe I'll see it here. Who said that? Oh, I haven't seen it yet anyway in the chat. Let me know who said that. New things every day, please. Okay. Every one of us has received help, support, or guidance from other people at particular times in our life and when we needed it the most. Sometimes another person alters the course of our own lives through their encouragement, their guidance, or just being there at the very right time. And then life goes on, and we tend to forget those times when one person touched us or changed our lives. Sometimes you don't even realize the impact a person has had until well into the future, when you look back on your life and you realize that a particular person was pivotal in magically changing the direction of your life for the better. My mother drove past the junction one time, and I think I told you this with the Magic Health, and she blessed herself, and I was like, there's no statue of Our Lady there. Like, why did you bless yourself? And she said, there's a friend of mine who's not doing very well, but if anyone's going to beat it, it's her. And I was like, how? Like, it's medicine, doctors, she can't beat it. And Mom's like, no, there's a thought process out there that if you think healthy and you think about getting healthy, and you can beat it. If you get it into your mind, you're going to beat it, you'll beat it. And I was like, oh, something triggered. So natural medicine and positive thinking and all that started to be kind of stirred inside of me. There was books we read going to school called Anne and Barry. And Anne and Barry went to the shop. Anne and Barry were eating bread and jam. And, when you read those books, they had these little toy cars. And I remember thinking, I'd love to be able to create them out of my mind. And then there was a program on RTE called The Girl from Tomorrow. And she had this thing called a transducer. It was like a hairband with some across her forehead with a little bead on it. So I used to take my sister's hairband and put it across and I was like, I can use my transducer and I'm going to make Anne and Barry's cars out of it, So maybe I was always open to the idea that our thoughts can become things. And maybe my mom planted that seed when she said, there's a thought out there that you can believe yourself into good health again. But look at that word. It's pivotal in magically changing the direction of your life for the better. My mom and dad were going for reflexology with a wonderful lady here in the island, Gora O'Connor. And then I think they saw me stressed and run down and getting cold sores and, not being able to eat my dinners, a very anxious teenager, holding my stomach and bent over and run down, and tonics and bottles of phosphor and all that stuff. And they eventually sent me for reflexology, and it was fantastic for mind and body. And that lady had a pivotal role in my journey into the healing arts later in life, because not only did she do the treatment, she told me why it was working, how it's connected, and all that good stuff. So they have pivotal changes in you. We have a woman in our academy, Pat Cosgrove, and I think she's being this magic dust. Since she's arrived in, she's been like, I'm telling you, Declan, very commanding. I'm telling you, Declan, this is where you're headed, you guys. I'm telling you, it's like we don't have a choice. She's telling us the direction that ourselves and the Bogdanoviches and Megan and it's almost like she's a pivotal little angel from afar over from Brisbane there and now back in Ireland again. But you see, these kind of things happen. These pivotal moments come in. There's people that say, I think of our dear friend Susan up in Tipperary there. She's a pivotal person in my 2021. I remember her and Avril Smith as well. I remember these moments where I feel the intuition to challenge their paradigm and say, go for it. Go talk to that landlady. Go ring up that person that you want to publish your book. Call them up. They're an actor in your movie. You get them to do it. So they might think I was helping them, but they've given me more belief now that I can trust my intuition, and I can tell this person who's feeling a little bit like, well, I won't I? You go for it, trust my intuition, give them that information they need to hear today. It's coming through you, Declan. It's not coming from you. Give it to them. And it changed her life. They might think I'm pivotal in them, in their life, they're pivotal in mine. The person may have been a teacher, a coach, an uncle, an aunt, a sibling, a grandparent, or a family member. They may have been a doctor, a nurse, or a best friend. Do you know what? They could have been an enemy. I'm telling you, somebody can upset you, and that upset could lead you to a counselor, and that counselor could change your life. Who says that being attacked or being upset was a bad thing? Maybe they were somebody you did not even know, and then they reappeared into your life very briefly, performing a random act of kindness that touched you to the core. My grandmother gave me the love for my books, cooking in the countryside. By sharing her love of those things with me, all of them affected and changed the course of my life. Cooking became a passion of mine over 20 years, and my love of books eventually led me to becoming a writer, and my love of the countryside has influenced everywhere I lived throughout my life. Isn't that class? Our dogs, Scrappy and Chippy, influenced June and I to end up living in Barna in County Galway, because it was in the countryside, and we wanted to I love what Richard wrote here, gratitude. The Irish for love is gra, and he wrote gratitude. You've got to, if that has not already been patented, Richard, I'm publicly, like, this is recorded on YouTube now. Richard Williams came up with it first. Put it on a t-shirt, my friend. Gratitude should be your movement. Create a Facebook group called Gratitude, and bring people together in love of gratitude. That's flipping awesome. I've never seen it before, so there might be people saying, oh yeah, that's been around a while. I don't care. I'm delighted you've typed that today. So my grandmother also disciplined me with a steel hand to say thank you. At the time, I thought she was just teaching me to be polite. It was only later in life I realized that teaching me to say those magic words gave me the greatest gift that my grandmother ever gave me. She is not alive anymore, but I continue to be grateful for her, for the huge influence she had on the course of my life. Thank you, Grandma. Today, you are going to think about magical people who have impacted your life. Find a quiet place alone sometime during the day. Sit down and think of 3 extraordinary people who've made a difference in your life. Once you have your 3 people, just work with one of them at a time. If you did one today, it would be one of the best things you'll do on this Friday, but do 3. Give it that time. Think of all the times you've watched Netflix or a really boring match. My wife walks in, she gets it when I watch Liverpool or Kerry football or a really good hurling match or something like that, or rugby. She'd sit down and watch the rugby. I don't know why. Rob Kearney, maybe the reason. Yeah, if Ireland are playing soccer, she'll say, are you still watching the Republic of Ireland? How have you not given up on them? So if you can sit through a boring match like that, then you can sit down and you can really the kids like, how do you watch like hours of golf, Daddy? I said, golf is amazing. So boring. If you can sit through golf, you can sit down and do 3 people that have a pivotal role in your life. Go for it. I mean, just go for it. There was a man who was really mean to my wife and I, but if he didn't open a business, we would not have met. He was all right, but he was really, yeah, he was mean, and he withheld wages from people and tips and stuff like that. So, do you know what though? He gave me a great example of how not to be a leader. He gave me my wife, because she worked there, then I worked there. We met each other, but he did something for me that was very powerful, and he gave me a business card for an acupuncturist, and it changed my life forever. Took away back pain and gave me a new career. So I might have said, I might have said something, I might have said he wasn't great, but he was so great to have been that kind of an angel and give me that card that set me on a wonderful path as well. So if I met him today, I'd probably have a great old chat with him, but there was times it was very, very tough. He led through a very coercive way of leadership that I don't particularly like and respect. But do you know what? He gave me 2 of the best things that ever happened to me: my marriage and my acupuncture training, and career and healing. So they can be angels. They can, what was it? Elvis said, "You're the devil in disguise." You look like an angel, you walk like an angel, you talk like an angel, but I got wise, you're the devil in disguise. So I think it was the other way around. He might have walked like a devil, talked like a devil, but he was an angel in disguise. I never thought of that before. I'm sure he would love, I'm sure his ears are burning now and he's like, I have an intuition that Declan Dunn who's calling me an angel. Anyway, let's move on. Make sure and do this magical practice with all of the people in one session. Now that's important because it'll take your feeling of gratitude so much deeper. Don't do one and then go off and do the kids' homework and then come back and do another and then go off and make dinner. Sit down and do it. Turn off your phone, turn off Spotify, and connect to your pen and paper today and say thank you, mother, or thank you, father, or thank you, neighbor, or whatever it is, and why you're grateful for them. So she's going to give an example here, and the example goes as follows. Okay, the example goes as follows. Sarah, I want to thank you for the time that you encouraged me to follow my heart. I was lost and confused that day, and your words touched me and lifted me out of despair. Because of what you said, I found the courage to follow my dream, and I moved to France to work as an apprentice chef. I'm now living my dream. I could not be happier because of what you said to me that day. Thank you, Sarah. That is a nice one. It's very important as you say the reasons why you're grateful. You cannot say it too much. Instead, the more you say, the more you're going to feel and the more amazing the results. And you're going to see the magic explode in front of your life from doing this practice. It numbers among the most powerful acts of gratitude that you can ever perform. If you're not in a position to talk out loud, then you can write down your words to each person and address them as though you were writing a letter. When you've completed this practice, you'll feel a huge difference in the way you feel. The evidence of gratitude's power working is always that first and foremost, it makes you happy. The secondary evidence of the gratitude's power is that you're going to attract wonderful things. Wonderful lady in the academy was like, Declan, I want to go up to three grand now. And she said, I'm after going from my wages, but it's plus an extra 200 a month. And then today, or this morning on the 6 a.m. club, she sent a private message to say that yesterday after we had a call, like 500 euros more came into her life and it took her over the 3 grand mark. And I was like, why don't we go for 5 next month? Why not? Magic money, magic, magic, magic. You see, one of the biggest blockages in the law of attraction and the law of vibration is this. You guys think you're the flipping creators. You're not. You're the designers. You just have to design it and the creator creates it. You just get the idea and design it. They'll take care of the rest. He'll take care of the rest. Whatever you believe in, okay? You are the designer, not the creator. Okay, so I'm going to read the magical practice, what she recommends for us today on day 12. And then tomorrow, tomorrow, Saturday at 1, I will be here. But I'm going to have to change my time for Sunday because we've got a soccer match out in Kenmare. So I'll probably tell you guys the exact time tomorrow. I think a lot of people are watching the replay anyway. But I'll give you plenty of notes tomorrow about what time I'll do on Sunday. Okay, so day 13, make all your wishes come true. If you've been following the magical practice day by day, you'll have built an amazing foundation for practicing gratitude. But today is an exciting day because you're going to begin the gratitude's magical power for creating new dreams. So you're going to be saying the thank yous at the beginning, and you're going to be saying thank you, thank you, thank you. The medical results show I'm clear and healthy. So we had there's one of the nicest people I've ever spoken to, a lovely lady called Maura. She's in the academy, and she went for a job interview yesterday. And I was there. What did we have for dinner last night? I was like chicken, pasta, and broccoli and stuff like that. Anyway, like you needed to know that. But I was making it up, and I was after having a chat with her, and I was seeing her going into the interview, being all confident. And I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you for her calmness in the interview. Thank you, thank you, thank you for her celebrating with her children in a week's time. Thank you, thank you, thank you for her post telling us that it's been a success or whatever, So you say, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can do it for you or you can do it for others. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doubling our sales figures this month. So it's now turning the corner of grateful for the present and the past, being grateful now for things you want. So that's tomorrow. That's make all your wishes come true. But here, to conclude the lesson, before I read some of the comments, here's what we're doing today. Magical practice number 12. Number 1, of course, count your blessings. I'm sure many of you guys have this done already today. We read the list, say thank you at the end of each one in a deep, deep way, and then feel grateful for the blessing and as grateful as you can. Number 2, find a quiet place alone somewhere today and make a list of 3 people who've made a difference in your life. Walk through the list one person at a time, work through the list one person at a time, and while talking out loud to each person about the reason why you're grateful for them and exactly how they affected the course of your life. Just before you go to sleep tonight, hold your magic rock in one hand and say the magic words, thank you, for the best thing that has happened during your day. Thank you. Just like that. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's read some comments now. And then it's Friday, then it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's Friday. Alrighty. Adele says, I've been writing gratitude for a long time, a few years, and then I stopped and I got back into it this year. Since starting thinking into results, my perception is much deeper and more heartfelt. I love it, Adele. It's hard to explain, isn't it? Like, I'm sure you were speaking to one of our team before you decided to become a client of the Academy. And, you know, there's so much that we can't explain because it's your experience. Like, we'll say, these are results that people got on an external level. I call it the shiny. Like, look at my new business, and look at I've tripled my income and all that. That stuff that really a lot of coaches kind of like go, bam, look at the result. Come and join us. The stuff that really turns me on is the inner feelings, because they can't unlearn that again. Adele, you're never going to unlearn what you've just learned. You know, it's now because you can go down the levels of emotion. Yeah, you can still go back to like frustration and anger and resentment and guilt, and not Adele, but anyone that rises up through the levels of vibration, and rises up through the levels of awareness, and rises up to levels of success. You can go back down on the physical lane. You can lose your money and stuff like that, but you can't unlearn awareness. It just does something to a person. You know, there's a great chapter called Serenity in As a Man Thinketh, and when you become that person, they call it, it's the final blossom of the finished character. Hang on, where is my lovely book? There it is. It says, that exquisite poise of character which we call serenity is the last lesson of culture. It's the flowering of life. It's the fruitage of the soul. It's as precious as wisdom, and it is more to be desired than gold, than even fine gold. How insignificant money-seeking looks in comparison with a serene life. It's that exquisite poise that we call the finished character. So, Adele, that's what you're experiencing, like a new level of awareness, and it's thinking. You know, it's the thinking mind. Viktor Frankl was incarcerated in Dachau in one of the in a really terrible situation in the concentration camps. They pulled the wedding ring off his finger. They murdered his whole family in front of his eyes, and they couldn't take away his thinking mind. You know, the power to choose the thoughts you think. And Adele, that's what you're feeling. And we created a company that allows you to do that. But you're the lady that's experiencing it, because you're the lady that's put pen to paper. You're the lady that's made the investment, you know. But so you got to own that as well, my dear. Well done, you. Amanda, oh my God, I remember Anne and Barry books. I can still recite the whole book. Can you? Amanda, for the crack, go into YouTube and watch. There's friends of mine, Taig, Hickey, and Laura in Cork, and they've it's the Cahoots, CCCAHOOTS, Cahoots, and put down Cahoots, Anne and Barry. It's hilarious. It's their Anne and Barry Go to Counselling. It's so good. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Look at Mr. Dave here with his lovely P. Kapanen. I'm so happy and grateful for the decision. Yesterday I made a decision. I ordered a brand new van costing 48,000 euros. Woohoo! It won't be mine till next March. So I have to figure out how I'm going to pay for it then. My new motto is spend and God will send. Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe they told you it's not going to be till March, but how about you change that? Do you want to have it earlier? How about you start affirming for it being in February and affirming that you have the money by January? What about that? Mr. Dave Kinsella, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend himself is right there. Sharon O'Leary, hello all. Happy Friday. Oh, sorry. What did he say? Oh, hi, Declan. Yes. Sharon O'Leary, a wonderful angel if you ever got to know her. Hello, happy Friday. I'm so happy and grateful for all the serendipitous type moments I'm experiencing lately. Maybe they were always happening and I didn't realize, but now I'm more consciously aware when they happen. I'm so grateful. I've proof that thoughts really become things. Drum roll, please. Woohoo! I love it. Flipping love it. I have proof the thoughts really do become things. Now I just have to perfect the process. Well, if you perfect the process, then just, you know, you're worth your weight in gold after that, because is there a thing called perfection when it comes to this? I don't know. Bob would tell you 60 years on, and I know you're miles away from 60 years on at this. He's like, you know what? I'm scratching the surface of what's possible. I'm like, really? You're only scratching the surface. So there's no perfection. It's, do you know what you need to perfect, if you're going to perfect anything, is remember just putting a new level on your breakthrough. So Adele, like, you definitely have had a breakthrough the way you're feeling, but that's it now. That's your new standard. There's no more going below that. Sharon, same thing. There's no more, like Maria, I mentioned this morning at 6 a.m. Club, we had a lovely conversation yesterday. And one of the lessons I used to teach in the last few masterclasses was get off the roller coaster, because there are ups and downs, and there always will be. People hurt you. People pass away. You might hear as someone that's spreading a rumor that's not true. It really does a number on you, doesn't it? When someone takes your character, and it's complicated because you don't know if they did say it, it's hearsay. It's very stressful. There's ups and downs in life, and they're never going to go away. But a person who's really learning to become a thought-evolved being, they're like, I heard it, but it doesn't bother me. It might even bother you a little bit, but not as much anymore. There's a counselor I used to go to see, and he was really, really, I suppose I'm never going to, like, he knew I was never going to buy into everything that he was trying to get me to do, because I do like the finer things in life. I do have ambitions, and I want to grow my business, and my mission, I suppose, now is to really help a group of people to get their goals and results, and that's the way it is. Okay. And what he wanted me to do, I've moved definitely in that direction. But there's a lot I took from his sessions, and there's some I haven't. I've ignored, because I know he's not the one to advise me on certain things. Let's put it that way. But there's something I will never forget that he gave me that is beautiful. And he called it this little 60-40 seesaw. Okay, this little 60-40. That when something is beautiful, like Sharon's message now, it just filled me up with happiness. I haven't even seen it yet now, but Anne's comment, every time Anne comments, there's like gold dust falls off my laptop and it sprinkles onto my lap. There's always something, when you see Anne's commenting, it's going to be a good thing. But I don't go above 60 with that. If someone is like, you're the best in the world, and I'm so grateful I found you, and your academy's changed my life, I go to 60, and it fills me up like 100, but I don't get carried away with myself. In the same way, it's like, some donkey on Facebook is like, fucking scam or something. If I'm saying, if you put procrastination behind you, you can live a very happy life. Scam, this is a scam. These ones, trolls, I think they're called. I don't go below 40. If I heard somebody said something about me, it's like, sure, look, it wouldn't be worse if there was no one talking about me. I don't go below the 40. I mean, there's probably times I can go back into that animalistic type of reactionary type of human instinct that's in me to go, fuck him in it, and biting the nail. And then I go, what am I doing? What do I teach people? Just let it go. And I go, gone. Good luck. Bounces off me and back to them. So what I'm saying here is, Sharon, instead of perfecting the process, perfect now putting a new layer on where you are. This is it. There's no more going below that 40 anymore. Deal? If something happens, you feel the old, maybe emotions rising up, just do this. Just dust them off. It's like, nah, because it's your old paradigm trying to use old reactions to bring you back to an older level of awareness that won't get you the results you want. You're in a new level of vibration now. So if you're going to perfect anything, perfect that. But gratitude's kind of going to do it subliminally anyway for you. Deirdre's there, my dear friend. How are you getting on? I hope you're well. Good to see your lovely face here on watching along. So Anne, let's hear the gold dust. Anne says, hi all, I'm going to speak to someone this weekend to ask them to sell us the house we want to make our new home. All your magic dust sprinkles would be so much appreciated. Yes. There's a song, you can get it if you really want, but you must try. So that's it, Anne. Just do it. And I hope you get it too. I really do. Okay. Amanda said she's seen the YouTube of Anne and Barry. It is funny. Hey, Dean, how are you? She goes, hey, everyone, just a little late. I'll catch up. My favorite day so far is dust for everyone. I had so much fun with it. Tough day today. So I'm grateful. We're grateful that you're with us as well. And then somebody else says, it's my first day here. I'm catching up the previous days. I love this session and I'm so grateful to be involved in this community. Thank you. Well, sending thank you right back to you. And let me know who you are. Again, it's just showing me Facebook user here. So I'd like to know who is on their first day. You might be tempted to skip up to day 12. Don't. Go through the whole process, Myself and June always, like, we trust the doctors, we trust the hotel managers that where we had our wedding. leave it in the hands of the experts. When June was having the babies, leave it in the hands of the experts. When my dad went in for some surgery, I said, leave it in the hands of the experts. Don't be that person that doesn't know what they're doing and is trying to tell the doctors what to do. Trust them. Let the experts do their thing. And Rhonda Byrne is an expert on this. So go through the days one, from day 1 to day 2, just like we did. Don't skip along. Join us live every day, but if you want to, but don't skip the days. That would be my advice to you. So yeah, Anita said something lovely as well. I thought at the start I had to be thankful for the big things that happened, but I found I can be thankful for everything, big and little, and it means I'm thankful for hundreds of things. Like, we got brown sugar in a canister out there. The canister was made by some company, the brown sugar, who came from God knows where. It sits on a counter that you just take for granted. That wood was growing in some forest somewhere. It's oak. My cousin John Hall came along and turned it into a beautiful counter. My wife is very happy today because the counter is shining, because a certain husband came along yesterday and did a load of tongue oil on it, that tongue oil, and sealed the whole thing again, and it's like brand new, lovely coat of oil. And I buffed it up till the late hours last night chatting to my friend in England, multitasking. But so I'm grateful. It started off with a spoon of sugar in the coffee. So I hear what you're saying, Anita. It was a spoon of sugar in the coffee, and then I was like, sure, the coffee beans came from South America. Well, Aldi, but you know what I mean. They came from South America. The sugar came from God knows where. The canister came from somewhere. John Hall made the counter. The oak tree came from somewhere long before any of us were around. It's real mature old oak, like. So yeah, you absolutely can be really thankful for the big things that have happened, and the small things too. So I'm so happy and grateful. Oh yeah, that was avalanches of awareness for infinite things to be grateful for the infinitesimally micro to the magnificently macro. The infinitesimally micro to the magnificently. I like that word. So somebody says here again, hi all, happy Friday. I'm so happy and grateful for all that was our wonderful friend Sharon that said that. Oh, Richard, look at this, jeepers. I got beaten up 20 years ago, but I can see that it literally knocked some sense into me. I gave up drinking and smoking. I'm down to do something useful with my life. A big gratitude to that person. Jeez, that's tough. That's amazing, Richard. Well, I'm grateful that you're here with us today, and thank you for tuning in. First day here. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. I'm thankful for the future Ireland I see with this teaching and creation. Can't wait for the domino effect to skyrocket from the academy. Yeah, me too. It is. It's already there. Like our wonderful friend here, Claire. She said, in shamanism, it is suggested you protect yourself from people's toxic energy with visualizing a mirror in front of you. The poisonous darts will bounce off it and be returned to the eater to be transmuted and redirected to their proper place in the universe. A protection mechanism. Yeah, I've heard that too. So I don't know who said that, but I really like that. The person who said thankful for the future Ireland. So let us know who you are. We're like, my mentor corrects me when I say this, but I'm saying it with the right way. I'm like, I'm behind in my work. We've currently like 180 something people in our academy, but there's 70,000 something people alone in County Kerry. There's 250,000 people in Cork. We've a lot to do, but we're very good at it, and it's our intention to do that and share this information around. But we've a wonderful guy in the academy, Michael Cross, and he told me he went into a house last week as part of his job, and somebody's like, I'm listening to this Declan Donoghue fella. So I was like, that's really cool. So it was Pat that said that. Yeah, well, Pat, that's what I was talking about. Pat keeps telling me about the place that we're going to end up. So I'll graciously accept. Now I must go and get on a call in 3 minutes. So I'm going to say thank you for day 12. Thank you for being here. Thank you to this beautiful blend we have of people from the upcoming masterclass, the 7 levels of awareness group who are tuning in, to people who are tuning in on YouTube, and to our beautiful members of the academy. Thanks for being good sports, being a part of this. And I know you're grateful right back at us for putting it on as well. And I want to say a special thank you as well. In the academy, I made an announcement this week about making an adjustment to the way things are. And it's very easy for, when there's a change, for our paradigm to go, ooh, change is bad. But everybody was just like, okay, I can see that. I can see what the intention is here. I can see the change it's going to make. And I already feel an effervescence to myself because of that. I can feel like I've reached out to some people now unexpectedly today, which I have the time to do now, which is really exciting. So this 28-day challenge that is bringing a lot of people together and helping us to all really transform came from a moment where I get to slow down. And when I slow down, my mind speeds up and my attraction speeds up and my ability speeds up and my gifts speed up. So it's going to be very, very good for everyone. I say as individuals and as a community. Maybe that's your wish coming true here. I can't wait for the domino effect. Maybe the domino effect needed me to have the time to go over the dominoes and go, because I didn't have that time, but it's back. All right, my dear friends, lots of love. See you tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Saturday for day 13. And then we are almost halfway there. Oh, living on a prayer. We leave Bon Jovi do the singing. Bye, everybody.